Hey, this is Ryan Levesque here, and I'm so excited for you to join me in today's training. Because in today's training, we're gonna be talking about how to choose your market, how to validate your business idea, and how to decide what business to start. And there's a big question that we need to begin answering, which is a question that may be on your mind, which is, how do you choose the right market and make sure that the business you're about to start will be successful without wasting time and money into your idea? See, when it comes to choosing your market, there are a lot of questions that come up. Like, how can you figure out if you'll be successful in the market that you're thinking about going into up front, given your existing skills and resources before you invest time and money? How do you decide which market or business to select first when you have several great ideas or opportunities in front of you, but you just can't decide? How do you choose your market when you're interested in a lot of different things and it feels like there are just too many options to choose from? How do you choose a business that's aligned with your skills and your interests, as well as your potential, and which still has sufficient market demand to be a commercial success? And how do you combine what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, what your audience needs, and in an area that you can commit to and stick with for the long term? How do you build a business that's not only about making money, but which has a purpose and is about helping people as well? And how do you get yourself to finally take that leap of faith and get started, even if you're the type of person who thinks about things way too much and who gets stuck in that analysis paralysis mode? Well, if any of those things describe what you're going through in your mind, then I want to let you know you are in the right place. In fact, if you're struggling with any of what I just talked about, I know exactly what that feels like because I struggled with the same thing myself. I remember when I was trying to figure out what business to start myself, and I had all sorts of ideas. I was like all over the map. At one point I thought we're gonna start a Chinese tutoring company. This is back when we lived in China. I thought we might start an import-export company. At one point, my wife and I actually thought we were gonna open up a gourmet cupcake business to the point that we actually baked cupcakes in our apartment and started selling them. I thought maybe a McDonald's franchise. I mean, I was all over the place. Listen, I knew I wanted to go into business for myself. I knew I wanted that freedom. I just had no idea what business to go into. And it wasn't until I discovered a decision-making framework for evaluating different markets and different business ideas, a framework based on actual hard numbers, a framework that was rules-based, that you could take and look at a market, plug numbers into a spreadsheet, and you could see in black or white, was it a go or no-go? A system that when you had an opportunity that was a go, you knew you were going to be successful up front. You knew how much it was gonna cost, how long it was gonna take, and that you just needed to follow the steps. And if you did that, you'd be successful. Now in my book, Ask, I reveal the methodology that I used to successfully enter 23 different markets. But what I did not reveal was how I chose those markets in the first place. And that is what we're gonna be covering today. Because here's the deal. Choosing your market is the single most important decision that you make as an entrepreneur. And there's an analogy that I like to use that I think is helpful to help you understand why and how this decision is so important. It's kind of like this. When you are an entrepreneur, your business that you're building is like a boat. This boat is the thing that's gonna take you to your destination. It's the thing that's gonna take you to where you wanna go. And as an entrepreneur, you're running that race. You're paddling that race. Now, but here's the thing. You can have the absolute best equipment. You can have the absolute best strategy. You can have the absolute best intentions. You could work harder than anybody else. You could prepare, you could train, you could be in the best shape, you could have the best crew, you could have all the best of everything. But if we go to the slides, if you are headed in the wrong direction, like this guy right here, if your boat is going in the wrong direction, or worse yet, if your boat is on dry land like this, it doesn't matter how hard you paddle, it doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter the quality of your boat, the quality of your equipment, none of that matters at all. You are not going to get to your destination. Now, how does that relate to choosing your market? Well, choosing your market is akin to putting your boat in the right direction in a river that is going to take you to your destination. Now, in serving literally thousands of entrepreneurs and coaching thousands of entrepreneurs along the way through the Ask Method process, I've discovered the number one reason why people fail, is because they choose the wrong market and business idea. It's not because they don't have the skill. It's because their boat it's facing that wrong direction, or worse yet, it's in a dry riverbed with absolutely no water. And it doesn't matter how hard they work, they're not going to get to their destination that they've set out for themselves. Because when it comes to choosing your market, validating your idea, and deciding what business to start, there are 7 big mistakes that I see people make. Now, these mistakes are expensive because they not only cost you time and money, but they wear you down. And when you're trying to row your boat and you realize you're not getting anywhere, and maybe you can relate to that, you've been rowing your boat, you've been paddling, you've been working so hard, you're saying, how can I not get to my destination? What happens is it demoralizes you, right? In fact, let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked on something where you worked like super hard on that thing, and when it was all said and done, you didn't get the results that you wanted? How did that make you feel? Maybe it's something in your business. Maybe you busted your butt on something. You worked so hard. You tried to follow all the steps. You did everything you thought you were supposed to do, but yet you didn't get the results you wanted. Well, this is the number one reason why people fail. Choosing the wrong market. You choose the right market, it's like a raging whitewater river at your back, propelling you to your destination. Choose the wrong market, you're like the guy who's looking in the wrong direction or sitting in that dry riverbed. So, choosing the right market, validating your business idea, and starting the right business is easy when you know what mistakes to avoid. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what those 7 mistakes are so you can avoid making them when it comes to deciding what market to enter and what business to start for you. Does that sound good? Is that cool? Let me know in the comments if that works for you, if you're ready to get started. All right, get some comments coming through. Yes, heck yes, hell yeah. All right, let me take a sip of water right here and let's dive right in. And let's begin with what I call expensive mistake number 1, which is going into a market where there's not enough pre-existing demand. Now, I call this the if you build it, they will come mistake. Because there's a common mistake I see entrepreneurs make, which is thinking that the secret to having success in business is coming up with something that is world-changing. Something that the world has never seen before, something brand new that's gonna transform the course of human history. And to think that we have to come up with something revolutionary that the world has never seen before, listen, it's not your fault. Because the influence that we have, all the magazines, Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine, you read these magazines, you hear about companies like Facebook with this world-changing technology, those are the stories that make the covers. Those are the stories that sell magazines. But the reality is, those businesses represent less than 0.0001% of all the businesses out there. And so the secret is finding pre-existing demand for something that is already selling. It's what we call starting with a starving crowd. The question you want to be asking yourself is, where is that starving crowd? How do you get in front of them? How do you find that group of people? So the questions you want to be asking yourselves is, how do you measure that demand? How do you measure what demand is existing already in the market that maybe you're thinking about going into? What process do you use to measure that demand? What framework do you use to measure that demand? And that is the first big mistake that I see people make, is that if you build it, they will come mentality around building something that the world has never seen, or something new in your market that nobody else is doing. And that takes us to expensive mistake number 2, which is going into a market that is the wrong market size. Now, there are 2 shades to this mistake. One of the shades is going into a market that's too big, and on the other hand is going into a market that's too small. And both are equally problematic. And they're problematic for different reasons. If you go into a market that's too big, it's like putting your boat into the Pacific Ocean, and you're just gonna drown in a sea of competition. Conversely, if you put yourself in a tiny little pond where there's nowhere to go, you might be able to put your boat, but you're not gonna get anywhere. You can't even move. So the question is, how do you figure out what market size to go into? Now, choosing the right size market to go into is a function of several different metrics. It's a function of, number 1, the resources that you have available, and I'll speak to this for just a moment. The more resources that you have available, the larger market you can go into. The less resources you have available, the smaller the market that you want to go into. So for example, if you have $1 billion at your disposal, if you're like Bill Gates, you can tackle a challenge like trying to rid the world of malaria. That might be $1 billion problem to solve. But if you only have $1,000 at your disposal to invest in your business, you want to pick a market that is appropriately sized so that you have enough resources to focus on that niche. Now, whenever I bring this up, a big objection that people say is, but wait, if I go into a small market, is that going to limit potential or demand? Well, I want to teach you something right now. I want to give you a key, and this is one that you want to write down here. The key is to find a sub-niche, or what we call, and you'll discover more about this, a micro-niche in a much larger market. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to start small in this micro-niche and expand into a much larger market as the next logical step. So the question you want to be asking yourself is, how do you figure out what is the right size market? Well, there are certain things that you want to be looking at. You want to be looking at, for example, the keyword volume for the searches in that market on Google. You want to be looking at the number of products being sold in that space on Amazon. You want to be looking at the audience size on Facebook when you do a very specific search. You want to be looking at the number of individuals who show up on searches on LinkedIn when you look for groups and organizations within this market. Now, the good news is there are a number of tools that are available, many of which are for free, that will help determine what market size is right for you based on your resources. But the key takeaway here is you don't want to go into a market that's too big or too small. That is the second big mistake that I see entrepreneurs make. Which takes us to expensive mistake number 3, which is going either too narrow or too broad with the product that you're selling. So one of the biggest questions that I get from entrepreneurs is, how narrow or broad should you be, especially if you're afraid that you may be niching down too much? Because listen, it's uncomfortable to narrow your focus. And in fact, you can give me an amen if you feel like there's more than one niche that you want to cover, that you'd like to go into, that it's so difficult to choose, like which one do you go into? Like I can totally relate to that because I've got more ideas than there's time in the day to execute on. So the question is, how narrow, how broad do you focus? And there's a natural thought that people have when we start to kind of niche down into a tiny little space. We say, wait, but maybe if I go a little bit more broad, I can expand my market. I can make more money. I can grow my business further. But the problem with going a little more broad is that it can dilute your focus. And when you dilute your focus, it becomes difficult to compete. So the question you might be asking yourself is, how broad is too broad? How narrow is too narrow? Should you niche down to multiple sub-niches, or should you focus on a more generalized message? How do you identify what sub-niche to go into? One that's profitable and the right size. One that's not too narrow, one that's not too broad. The key is finding that sweet spot right in the middle. And that leads us to expensive mistake number 4, which is going into a market that has either too much or too little competition. Now, let me explain. One of the biggest fear that entrepreneurs I coach have is going into a market that has too much competition. But what's interesting about that is that having a market that has too little competition is an even bigger problem. Now, the fear of too much competition is simple, right? It's like if someone has already created what you're thinking about building, you're too late. You've missed the opportunity. Now, if for some reason one company is doing it, there's a sense that you're too late. Like if someone's already doing something similar to what you have in mind, it feels like, you've missed the proverbial boat from our analogy earlier. But the reality is it's equally problematic if you are the first person to be attempting something. In other words, if you go online in a market and nobody else is doing your idea, that is not a good sign, that's a bad sign. Because listen, with what do we have, 7, 8 billion people in the world right now? Do you really think that you are the first person on the entire planet to think of the idea that you have? The reality is that it's much more likely that someone else has tried that idea, and if you don't see evidence of it online, it's because they failed. So no competition is actually a bigger red flag than too much competition. Now, too much competition is also not a good thing. Again, just like deciding how narrow or broad to focus in terms of the niche that you're going into, with competition, you want a sweet spot. Now, there's a phrase that one of my mentors taught me that I'll teach you now that's had a big impact on me. He said, Ryan, here's what you want to remember. Pioneers get shot, but settlers get rich. So what does that mean exactly? It means you don't want to be the first into anything. Instead, you want to follow competition who's been there before you. If we look at some of the most iconic, the most successful companies in the world today, take a look at like Google, for example. Google was not the first search engine. They followed a market that somebody else blazed the trail, that somebody else pioneered, and they built a better mousetrap. Facebook was not the first social network. Facebook found a space that people were already having success in, and they built a better platform. So here, when it comes to competition, you want to be able to measure the number of competitors in your space. And just like when we talk about market size and looking at the keyword volume and search volume in places like Facebook and LinkedIn and Google, when it comes to your competition, there's an optimal number of competitors that you want to be looking out for. Now that takes us to expensive mistake number 5, which is choosing the wrong business model. You see, I work with entrepreneurs who end up choosing a market that is a good market to go into. It's broad enough, it's not too narrow, it's the right size. There's not too much or too little competition. But the reason why they struggle is because they go into the right market with the wrong business model. Well, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by business model exactly? Well, a question you might be asking yourself is, what type of business should you start? Should you build maybe a service business where you're developing a coaching and consulting practice in the area that you're thinking about going into? Or should you create a digital product business instead? And when it comes to building a digital product business, should you build a membership site? Should you sell ebooks? Should you build online courses? See, when it comes to deciding what business model to start, there are a number of decisions that you need to make. And this is a big area where people make mistakes. They make the mistake of choosing the wrong business model for the market they've decided to pursue. Because a business model that works in one market isn't necessarily going to work in another market. So what you need here is a framework. You need a framework to decide what business model fits for the market that you're thinking of going into and what business model doesn't make sense for the market that you're thinking about going into. And this kind of relates to mistake number 6, which is expensive mistake number 6, the wrong product at the wrong price. So I work with entrepreneurs who make all the right decisions up until this point. They go into a market that is a good market to go into. They choose their business model, and the business model makes sense, and yet their product just doesn't sell. It just doesn't work in the market that they're thinking about going into at the price point that they want to sell it at. So the question is, how do you figure out how much you're going to charge for the product that you're going to sell, especially if you haven't sold that product before? What methodology do you use? Well, the good news is there's a framework for this that you can use to accurately identify what you should charge for your product when you release it and how you can change that price over time. And that leads us to expensive mistake number 7, which is not having a unique angle. Let me explain what I mean by that. See, this is the mistake that ties everything else together. When you choose your market, validate your business idea, decide what business to start, here's the secret to success. You need a unique angle. Now, your unique angle is based on a couple different things. It's based on your strengths. It's based on your capabilities. It's based on your unique background. It's based on your unique story. It's based on the resources that you have and where you have talent. You see, your unique angle is all about combining what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, as well as what your audience needs, and doing it in an area that you can commit to and stick with over time. Now, you can think about this as kind of being like 3 concentric circles that overlap with one another. And what you're looking at is for that tiny piece of real estate right in the middle. And that is what's going to make you successful. To identify that unique piece of real estate that you and only you can own. And once again, the key here is having a process to identify what that is. Because here's the deal. Someone might have the same capabilities as you, but they may not have the same background or resources. Or they might have a similar background, but they don't have the same story that you have. It's about combining these unique aspects of your life to identify the real estate that you and only you can occupy. Now, what I've discovered is that if we talk about, the mistakes that we've covered so far, avoiding these mistakes are easy when you have a framework and a process. See, choosing the right market, validating your business, starting the right business, it's not a process, it's not a decision that you can make based on gut feel, emotion, or trying to guess. This is the single most important decision that you make in your business. If you put your boat in a dry riverbed, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. You can buy all the other courses, you can follow all the other processes, you can do everything else, have all the best intentions, you can work 20-hour days, it doesn't matter. Your boat is not going to move. What you need is a methodology for choosing your market, one that's not based on guessing, one that's based on specific metrics that you want to be looking for. You need a repeatable process that you can follow, one that's both quantitative and rules-based with metrics to be aiming for, and one that's based on actual data, not theory, but based on real life experience. Now, the framework that I'm talking about is one that I've personally used to choose 23 different markets. And in those markets, earn over $150 million in revenue across those markets over a 10-year period. Now, the framework that I'm talking about with every market that I use was something I was able to refine every step of the way. I was able to identify, when it comes to choosing your market, what are the ideal number of direct competitors that you want to be looking for? What are the ideal number of Google search results that you want for a primary keyword in your market? What's the ideal audience size on Facebook for a very specific type of search? I discovered 5 things that every market you enter absolutely needs to have. Now, over the process of going into 23 different markets, I refined this framework down to a science so that by the end, my success rate reached 100%. And what I realized along the way is that the markets and businesses earlier in my career that I didn't have success in, the reason was because each of those markets were all missing one or more of the critical ingredients that I discovered in the process to choosing your market. So not only do I want to teach you this process, but if you're interested, I want to take you by the hand and go through it together. Now, what I'm about to share with you is something I've never taught in depth like this except for a one-time opportunity that I offered last year to a small number of inner circle customers. These were people who had a one-time opportunity to get access to that with me. So what I'd like to do now is to give you a peek inside how this process works and what we're going to cover together when you join me in this training. So let's talk about what we're going to cover in this framework and process. First, we're going to talk about how to measure demand for your idea. I'm going to show you how to determine if your market will pay for the product or service that you're thinking of offering before spending time and money creating it. I'm going to show you how to identify how hungry the buyers are in the market you're considering before you get started. I'm going to show you how to determine your market size and potential. I'm going to show you how to get tangible data and qualitative proof about the size of your market that you're thinking about going into, and if that market size is sufficient to start a business and be profitable. I'm going to show you how to identify which of your ideas has more profit potential when you're deciding between more than one business idea. Next, I'm going to show you how to find your unique angle, how to combine what you're good at, what you enjoy, what your audience needs, and in an area that you can commit to and stick with in specifically a place that has longevity. We're going to talk about the importance of being in what we call an evergreen market and not a fad-based market. Then we're going to cover how to put all the pieces together and identify your unique angle, which again is based on your strengths and capabilities, but also the resources that you have available. Next, we're going to talk about how to determine how narrow your focus should be. I'm going to show you the step-by-step formula to determine how broad or narrow you should be, including if you're afraid you may be niching down too much. What to do if you feel uncomfortable about narrowing your focus, wanting to cover too many niches, going too broad, and not drilling down deep enough. I'm going to show you how to decide if you should niche down to multiple sub-niches or if you should focus on a more generalized message. I'm going to show you how to find profitable sub-niches and what we call micro-niches so you can afford to advertise when your market is highly competitive, and how to find the soft underbelly of that market to give yourself an in. Next, I'm going to cover how to evaluate your competition. We're going to talk about the formula to determine if there's too much competition in your market for the idea that you're considering pursuing. We're going to cover how to find out how to carve out your blue ocean in a competitive red ocean market, even when you're not an expert in the market you're considering. So just to be clear, you don't need to be an expert in the market that you're thinking about going into. And in fact, in most of the 23 markets that I went into, I wasn't an expert myself. Next, we're going to talk about how to discover, how to differentiate and position yourself against your competition in a way that ensures your idea will be a winner no matter what. Now, in the next section, we're going to talk about how to decide what to sell and how much to charge. I'm going to show you how to come up with or find a product that will sell profitably in the market that you're looking at step by step. I'm going to show you the exact formula to use to figure out how to price your product or service. I'm going to show you how to find out when you should start with a service-based business like coaching and when you should start with a product-based business model like selling digital products instead. I'm going to show you how to decide what type of product to sell. If, for example, you're trying to decide between digital information products or a membership site, and a simple framework that you can use every single time for making that decision easy. Next, we're going to talk about how to choose the right business model. I'm going to show you how to figure out what business model you want to focus on based on your personality. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each business so you can choose a business model that fits you and your lifestyle. I'm going to show you what types of businesses are the easiest to set up. I'm going to show you how to choose what business model to serve the niche that you've selected and how to get initial traction with that model step by step. Next, I'm gonna talk about a very important topic, which is how to incorporate your passion and purpose. If you're here right now, it's probably because you have a passion for something. Maybe a passion for wanting to start your own business or a passion for the subject matter that you're thinking about going into. Well, I'm gonna show you how to build a successful business that's not only about making money, but which has a purpose and is about helping people as well. I'm gonna give you a framework that you can use to figure out which area you can add the most value to the world. How to find a market that fits within your passion focus, even when it feels like your passion falls into a market that's maybe too big for you to compete in. And I'm gonna teach you about the surprising truth about what's more important, your passion and knowledge, or the size and potential of your market. Plus, I'm gonna show you how to choose your market if you don't have any passion driving you to any particular market or business. And in my career, I was very much in this particular category. Next, I'm gonna show you how to leverage your existing market knowledge or expertise and what to do if you don't have any. I'm gonna show you how to choose a business that's aligned with your skills, with your interests, with your potential, and which still has sufficient market demand. We're gonna talk about how to create a product with your existing talents and your knowledge, and what to do if you have too much material about your topic. So if you're already an expert and you've got like so much stuff you don't even know where to begin, I'm gonna show you the right industry to apply your expertise in and how to reach that market if, for example, there is more than one market that you could possibly serve. And I'm also gonna show you how to enter a market that you might wanna serve if you don't have any knowledge, expertise, or previous experience. Because like I mentioned, many of the markets I went into, I actually had zero experience, zero expertise. And you'll discover how in some cases, this can actually be more effective than going into a market where you do have expertise. Next, we're gonna talk about how to choose your market if you're stuck or overwhelmed. So for example, I'm gonna show you how to decide which market or business to select first when you have like a few great ideas or opportunities in front of you, but you just can't decide. I'm gonna show you how to choose your market when you're interested in a lot of different things and it feels like there's just like too many options to choose from. If you can relate to that, like let me know, because I feel like that way all the time. There's always like so many great options that I can't decide which one to go into. I'm gonna show you how to decide what market to go into when you're torn equally between two things that you love, and I'm gonna give you a framework and a decision-making process for this. And I'm also gonna cover what to do if you get overwhelmed with all the different possibilities. If you're like, oh my gosh, there's like so many different options, what do I do? And if you find yourself having a challenge choosing the right strategy. And then I'm gonna show you how to finally move forward and get started. So if you feel like you've been stuck, you've been spinning your wheels, you just need some help, I'm gonna show you how to get yourself to finally take that leap of faith and get started, even if you're the type of person who thinks about things way too much and gets stuck in analysis paralysis. I'm gonna help you if you're the type of person who gets distracted easily. Like if you get distracted by shiny objects, if you have that shiny object syndrome, I'm gonna show you what to do. And I'm gonna help you overcome that feeling that there might be a better niche or business out there that you're holding out for. Plus, in addition to all that, I'm gonna cover all the most frequently asked questions. Listen, I've gotten literally hundreds of questions from entrepreneurs on how to choose your market and decide what business to start. And I'll give you a sample of a few of these questions after I take a sip of water here. So here are a few examples. So like one of the common examples I get, questions that I get from entrepreneurs is, how do you choose a market that's not just like temporary, but is gonna have enough potential to keep generating revenue for you for years and years and years, and ideally the rest of your life? What do you do if you already have a product or service and you're afraid your market won't be interested in what it is that you're offering? How do you decide if you should focus on a specific local market or a market online across different geographies? How do you decide how you should package your services together, or if you should just focus on just one of your services? How to determine how much capital, how much money you need to start the business that you want to start? What do you do when your research points you toward creating a different offer that requires maybe making a bigger investment than you were planning initially? How do you set things up so that you're not tied to any one market for a long period of time? How do you know which audience to focus on when you could potentially focus on more than one audience within the same market? How to decide when it's time to move on from your idea, this is always a tough one, move on from your idea and move in a different direction. So listen, Everything that I've just mentioned is stuff that I've literally never taught publicly before, except once to a small group of people last year to whom I taught this live. Now, ever since the first time I offered this training, people have literally been reaching out to us, begging me to offer this training again. And I wasn't planning on doing that because when I did this last year, this was a one-time live training that I made available to a very small group of people. But I know that there are folks who missed out on this training, who couldn't make it for one reason or the other. Maybe you weren't even aware of who I was at this point. Maybe you're new to my world. Maybe you couldn't make it because of the dates or whatever it was. But people have been reaching out, basically begging me, asking if there's any way that I could make this training available again. Now, here's the thing. I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. So if you missed that opportunity to get access to this training and you'd like to have me as your coach you through the process of choosing your market and deciding what business to start, I'm going to make this training available one more time starting on Monday. And when you sign up today, you'll not only get access to all the recordings if you can't make a session when it's released, but you're also going to get access to all the resources that I'm making available for you as well. But before we go to all the details and how much this is going to cost, I want to take a moment to first talk about some of the bonuses you'll be getting access to if you'd like me to coach you through the process of choosing your market, validating your business idea, and helping you decide what business to start. So the first bonus is bonus number 1, my 101 profitable niche ideas. Because here's the deal. When I was entering niche market after niche market, I made a secret list of all the markets. Let's put the bonus on the screen and just leave it there. I made a secret list of all the markets that met what I call my market criteria, which we'll talk about in the training. And if I had time right now, these are the exact markets that I'd be looking at entering myself. Now, here's the deal. I kept this list secret for years. But now that I've decided to put 100% of my focus into teaching and serving other entrepreneurs, and I know that I'm not going to be able to get to every market on this secret list, I'm going to hand this list to you on a silver platter. This bonus alone is valued at $199. I'm going to hook you up with this for free. And that takes us to the next bonus, bonus number 2, which is the ultimate choose your market checklist. So here's the deal. In the process of entering 23 different markets, I developed a series of secret and proprietary templates, checklists, and processes, which I have distilled down into my ultimate choose your market process. And I'm going to share all these resources that I developed for myself with you for free. Now, just to give you a taste of what these resources include, they include, number 1, my market test checklist. You're going to be able to use this checklist to know whether your idea or niche fits within what we call the market sweet spot. You also get access to my market model matrix. You use this resource to know if your market and your model are a match for one another. In other words, is the business model that you're thinking about starting, the business, is it a fit for your market based on these specific criteria? Next, you get access to my competitive analysis framework checklist. You can use this to find gaps in any market by looking at specific pieces of what your competition is doing. The value of this ultimate choose your market checklist is worth $199. I'm going to give you all these resources for free as my gift to you. And that takes us to bonus number 3, which is a ticket to Ask Live 2018. So here's the deal. Every year I do a big live event, Ask Live. And this year it's in beautiful, sunny Orlando, Florida. This is my biggest event of the year. And last year, this event was completely sold out with more than 800 entrepreneurs registered, many of whom are in the early stages of their business or even deciding what business to start. And this year, Ask Live is going to be even bigger. At Ask Live, we're gonna cover how to use the ask method to decide if the market you're thinking about going into or the business you're thinking about starting is worth pursuing. You're gonna hear from actual real life students who have used the very same choose your market process that you're about to get access to, how they've used that process as well as the ask method to figure out what business to start. Now, tickets to this event, to Ask Live, are $499. But when you sign up for this special second chance choose your market opportunity that we're talking about today, I'm gonna hook you up with a ticket to Ask Live for free. All you'll be asked to do is when you sign up to make a fully refundable small seat deposit, which will hold your seat and let us know that you're actually coming to the event. And I'll hold your seat because last year we did sell out and a seat will be held for you. And you'll get that back to you when you arrive at the event. Again, the value of this bonus is worth $499, but I am going to hook you up with a ticket to Ask Live for free. So, the question that you might be asking yourself is, well, how much is this going to cost? How much is this Choose Your Market training? Well, consider this. If we look at my Ask Method Masterclass, we pull up that slide, my Ask Method Masterclass. The Ask Method Masterclass training is a $2,000 program. And at that price point, it's worth every penny for the results that you get when you follow the Ask Method process. And considering that the single most important decision that you need to make in your business is choosing the right market, at $2,000, this Choose Your Market training that we're talking about today would be a complete steal. But if we put the slides back up, at $2,000, this training would be a complete steal, and you're not gonna pay $2,000 for this training. You're not even gonna pay $1,000 for this training. Now here's the deal. When I create the finished, final, polished version of this training, make it all fancy, make it all, like a finished course with all the bells and whistles, we're gonna charge somewhere between, if we go to the next slide, $499 and $1,000 for this training. But here's the deal. I'm a big believer in rewarding my early adopters. I'm a big believer in rewarding people who take action. I love working with action takers. So I'm always trying to find ways to reward people for taking action with me. So when you decide to enroll in this Choose Your Market training that you've heard me talk about today, you can get access to everything that I just mentioned today for just one payment of $195. Now, you might say, why are you doing this? Well, there are two reasons for this. I mentioned already that I love working with action takers and rewarding people for taking action. But it's also because of what I call a sort of muddy boots situation. Well, what is muddy boots exactly? Well, a few years ago, my wife and I bought a property, and we were one of the first buyers in this particular development. And they were offering this incentive, and they called it muddy boots pricing. And basically the way it worked was like this. They say, hey, listen, we know that all the amenities aren't in place in this development. We know that things are a little bit of a mess right now. We know that you're gonna have to live through a little bit of construction, but if you're willing to come in early, we're gonna offer you muddy boots pricing that's gonna knock tens of thousands of dollars off the price of this property. And so we made the decision to buy. And the result, we got a steal of a deal. And that property today is literally worth hundreds of thousands of dollars more than we paid for it. Because we were willing to put up with the fact that things were a little rough around the edges, things were a little bit messy, what they called muddy boots. And so that's what I want to do for you here today. Because listen, I'm not gonna lie, this training, I delivered it live. I delivered it once live. And so it's not perfect. It's rough around the edges. Listen, the content is amazing, but it's not yet produced into a fancy, polished course. If you'd rather wait for the fancy, polished version of this training, you can certainly wait for that, but it is gonna cost between $499 and $1,000 when we do that. And I want to give you an opportunity to get access to the same content at a tiny fraction of that price. That's the first reason. The second reason why I'm offering this discount, there is actually a bit of quid pro quo. I'm going to ask for a favor and for you to make a promise in return. See, because I've only taught this training once, it's really important for me to get your feedback to help me tailor the upcoming follow-up training for you. So I want to have your feedback in this process. So the question is, how do you get started today? Well, we jumped the gun a little bit here, but let's put the link up on the screen. We've got the link askmethod.com/CYM. That is the link to get access, special access today for just one payment of $195. Now, there's a few things that I want to get to in just a moment as I take a look at the time. We are good. Good. By the way, if you're watching this right now, would you do me a favor and just click on that link and let me know that it's working? I know we had challenges with one of our links earlier today. I just want to make sure that it's okay. And in the comments, could you just let me know, yep, Ryan, it's working okay. It's looking good. It's all good. And in the meantime, Chris, can we put the link to the page in the chat as well? So it's easy to just click on and get right to that link. Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. All right, sweet. Thank you so much for that feedback. I appreciate it. Natalie, thank you. And Martha, thank you so much. Awesome. I really appreciate it, guys. Cool. I'm glad that the link is working. Awesome. Cool. All right, now, if we move forwards, I want to let you know that, you can move forward today completely protected, because you are protected by my unconditional 100% money back guarantee. And just so there's no confusion, I want to make things perfectly clear. When you sign up today, you're completely protected. You've got 30 days to check everything out 100% risk-free, which means if you're not satisfied for the training after you check it out, for any reason or no reason at all you need to do is just send us a one-line email letting us know. You'll be issued a full and courteous refund for your purchase. No hassles, no questions, no hoops to jump through, which means that you can sign up today and check out the training for yourself 100% risk-free, even if you're just curious. In fact, there is nothing holding you back from clicking on the link on this page and signing up today. Now, before we get to questions, because I know you've got questions, I want to talk a little bit about something super duper special that I'm going to do for you when you sign up right here, right now, live during this training. What I'm going to do when you sign up right here, right now, live for this training is I've got a special fast action bonus. Because like I said, I love working with action takers. If you're the type of person who takes action, I want to work with you. So here's the deal. If we go to the next slide, when you sign up right here, right now, today, you're going to get access to a special, intimate, private Q&A hot seat call with me personally. Now, this is only available to those who sign up during this webinar right here, right now, while we're live, before we go off the air. This is a special Q&A hot seat call that's valued at $299. It's likely that there's only going to be a small handful of us on this. It's a great opportunity if you want to get some private, direct coaching from me on your business and getting your questions answered. This is your opportunity. So again, the link is askmethod.com/CYM. This is a bonus. We're going to look at the timestamp on your order. So we know when this webinar ends, we're down to the last 10 minutes here. You've got 10 minutes. I'm looking at my clock here. You've got 10 minutes to place your order to get access to this special fast action bonus. So we're down to the final 10 minutes. And that link, once again, is askmethod.com/CYM. So in the last 10 minutes, what I'd like to do is answer some of your questions, because I saw that there's some questions that have come through and some that were submitted before this call, and I'd like to take a moment now to answer as many of those questions as possible. So one of the questions that I saw come through is, how will this course be taught? Well, this course is going to be taught live, just as if you were here with me in person at one of my $10,000 events. So we have these events, these intensives that we run. We charge upwards of $10,000. You get to come here to my headquarters in Austin, Texas, and the experience is going to be similar to having the experience of being here live with me in person. In fact, the training is taught in 3 parts. There are a series of live webinars, meaning I teach this live. Again, you get access to all the recordings. So even if you can't, make it when the course is released, it's yours. You can watch it at your convenience. You have permanent access to it, so you can go back and watch again. You can review it. You can study it whenever you want. You get access to the live sessions that I've recorded. In fact, a live session that I did at Ask Live 2017 is something that you get access to. So if you missed my live event last year, this is the only way to get access to this super duper special session. You get access to that. And of course, the third part is that bonus Q&A hot seat call that I mentioned that you only get access to when you sign up now in the last 8 minutes before we have to wrap here today. And again, the way we know if you sign up in time is we will look at the timestamp on your order. So you want to make sure you go to that link, askmethod.com/CYM. So next question comes up from Susan. When does the course kick off? The course kicks off on Monday. That's when you start getting access to everything. So that's why we need everyone to join now. In fact, you'll get your first assignment, which is some pre-work that we'll have you do, as soon as you sign up. I see John asks, if you can't make it live, what do you do? Well, don't worry. Everything will be recorded. So you get access to the recordings and everything. You get access to everything in a nice membership area, so you'll be able to go back and watch all the recordings at your leisure. The question is, how do you sign up? What's the link again? Again, it's askmethod.com/CYM. And maybe what we'll do, the best thing to do, Gary, is if we leave that up on the screen, with me is fine, but just leave the link up on the screen so everyone knows what that link is, askmethod.com/CYM. Another question that comes through is, how is this different from other programs? Well, I'll say this. This is the actual methodology that I've personally used to choose each of the markets that I went into. Before this, I have never taught this full methodology before anywhere. In fact, I didn't teach it because it was so valuable. I thought it was too valuable because in many ways, I consider this to be a bigger secret to my success than the Ask method is to the success that I've had. So that leads to the next question, which I see come through. How is this different from the Ask method? Well, you can think about choose being the step that you take before you ask. Because before you can ask, you need to choose. In fact, this is the process that you need to go through before you follow the Ask method. So if you don't know what market to go into, if you don't know what business to start, you need to choose that before you decide what you're going to ask to better understand that market. I see Janet says, what if you already have an idea? Well, you can use this process to validate that idea or market. You can use this to say, is it a go or is it a no-go? What if you don't have any particular passion or interest? Well, we're going to cover exactly what to do. If you don't have any particular passion or interest right now, we're going to cover what to do in that situation. What if you don't have any expertise? That's a great question. We're going to talk about that as well. Again, the markets that I went into, most of the markets, I had zero expertise, zero experience, and the secret is all about having the right framework and methodology to choose a market that's a right fit. What if you've got stuff going on in your life right now and you're not ready to start now? Well, here's what I recommend. Get in now. Everything is recorded. Remember, you have to get in now. I see a question coming through. Can you wait to sign up? Not at this special price and this bonuses. Remember, you get over $900 in free bonuses. You get the 101 profitable niche ideas valued at $199. You get the ultimate choose your market checklist valued at $199. You get a free ticket to my live event valued at $499. all said and done, that's over $900 in free bonuses that you get absolutely free when you take action here today. Plus, you also get access when you sign up in the next, if I look at my clock right now, in the next, how many minutes do we have left? In the next 6 minutes, you also get access to the Q&A hot seat call with me personally, where you can get your questions answered by me. This is a special call that's valued at $299. You only get access to that call when you sign up in the next now 5 minutes before we wrap. And let's pull up just keep the slide on the screen. We don't need the video on top of that, just for the overlay. If we go back up for just a moment. Yes, so going through the questions. Okay, can you wait? We covered that one. No. It'll be at the regular price. Again, yes, if you wait, if you do wait, the program will be sold at $499 to $1,000. We haven't decided yet, but it's gonna be at that price point, and the bonuses that I mentioned will not be available. Those will be extra. So this truly is an amazing steal of a deal of just one payment of $195. Question, what if you're still not sure if this is right for you? Well, listen, here's what I recommend. Don't try to decide if this is right for you today. Instead, sign up now so you can get in at this special price. We're down to the last 4 minutes, folks. 4 minutes to get in, to get all those bonuses, plus the fast action bonus of that bonus Q&A call valued at $299. So what I recommend is this. Go through all the training. Don't decide if you are gonna keep it yet. Just go through all the training. Take lots of notes. Download all the bonuses and recordings to your hard drive. If you decide that the course isn't right for you for any reason or no reason at all, simply send us a one-line email letting us know, and we'll offer you a fast and courteous refund. It's really as simple as that. Remember, we're down to the last 3 minutes right now, and I want to remind you, in this training, I'm going to cover how to measure demand for your idea. I'm going to cover how to determine the market size and potential of your idea. I'm going to show you how to find your personal unique angle. I'm going to show you how to determine how narrow or broad you should focus. I'm going to show you how to evaluate your competition. I'm going to show you how to decide what to sell and how much to charge. I'm going to show you how to choose the right business model for you. I'm going to show you how to incorporate your passion and your purpose into what it is that you're doing. I'm going to show you how to leverage your knowledge and expertise and what to do if you don't have any. I'm going to show you how to choose if you're stuck or you're overwhelmed. I'm going to show you how to finally move forward and get started. Plus, I'm going to cover all the most frequently asked questions. So if you're already in, let me know in the comments, because I cannot wait to be working with you. Just leave a comment and say, Ryan, I'm in, I can't wait to be working with you. And I see all the names coming through. This is awesome, sweet. Natalie, awesome. Martha, yeah. Susan and Chris and John and Paul, awesome. Great. And Mark, sweet. I am so excited to be working with you now. So one last time, you can join me now by going to askmethod.com/CYM. Remember, we're down to the last 30 seconds here. When you move forward here today, you get access to the entire Choose Your Market training on how to choose your market, validate your business idea, and decide what business to start. You get access to $900 in free bonuses, including my 101 profitable niche ideas valued at $199, my ultimate Choose Your Market checklist valued at $199, and a ticket to Ask Live valued at $499. Plus, when you sign up right here, right now, you get that bonus Q&A call that's only available, it's going away soon. It's only available when your timestamp on your order is in line with before this webinar ends. So we're down to the last few seconds here. So the way you move forward is simple. You just go to that link or click on that big green button on that page. Enter your information on the secure checkout page. Get instant access to the first step of the process minutes from this very moment. I look forward to seeing you inside and coaching you on how to choose your market, validate your business idea, and start the right business for you. So that being said, I love to wish you a great rest of your day. I look forward to everyone who has made the decision to jump in and work with me on this. And I can't wait to serve you as your coach. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you inside. Take care and talk soon. Bye.